Bitcoin is on a run-up, and some of the things that people are looking to is what other markets will it affect? Today we're going to dive into the Bitcoin miners and how that might play into your investment plan outside of cryptocurrency. I know, outside of cryptocurrency.
Outside of crypto?
My name is Paul Barrett. Welcome back to Tech Path, and I've got my host with me. Of course, you guys love her and know her as Lisa Francoeur.
Nice to see you guys again. Thanks for having me back, Paul.
Absolutely. All right, so Lisa, let's jump into
Let's go.
Market cap, coin market cap. Here we go. Big move here with Bitcoin, and of course, we've seen what I like right there. Zooming in on this is a $1.5 trillion market cap. This is insane.
I mean, let's face it though, not too long ago, we were looking at a $2 trillion market cap for the crypto market at large.
Yep.
And so to see this rebound is not only encouraging, but I think indicative of what's to come. Do I hear a bull run, ladies and gentlemen?
Here it comes, get ready. And here's the other thing that's impressive. BTC, Bitcoin, holding in at 47.5 on dominance, which is a pretty nice one. ETH was down 17.7, a little softer. There was a time when ETH and still I hear, a lot of people talking about the flippening, but also ETH was moving. Now it seems like Bitcoin's really kind of taking control here, back saying, hey, little brother, let me show you how this works.
Hey, I mean, listen, I think that Elon Musk, Cathie Wood, and the conversation that Jack Dorsey, the three of them having during the B word, I mean, I think that that also gave a lot of folks the confidence that they need that the crypto market isn't going anywhere, and Bitcoin is by far the dominant leader for a reason, which we'll dive into.
Yeah, and you're looking here at 38.6 right now, which is up a little, not quite 1% there on the 24-hour.
It's feeling good, Paul. It's feeling really good to see it.
30% in the last 7 days.
I mean, listen, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but let's be honest, where Bitcoin goes, the cryptocurrency market at large goes. So to see it running up feels really good and really bullish.
Yep, I like it. All right, let's jump to Trade the Chain and take a look at the current sentiment. This is the 7-day sentiment. You kind of saw it from right here. Let's kind of jump down into the day chart. July 20th, it was dipping underneath. Daily sentiment was 28.8. Very low, actually. And then they kind of the point of no return was on July 21st, started to rise, and then we saw the big movement, which was very interesting here on this chart, where you see the sentiment narrowing in really tight before the bump occurred. And then right there on that day, which was July 25th, we jumped to a sentiment score of 56.08 and a price moving up to 38,000, which was kind of where that Sunday night move started to happen. So still showing a lot of positive sentiment, but we did get into the negative here just yesterday and today, and we've got a little bit of a crisscross. So that's going to be interesting to watch for sure.
I'll tell you this, I think that with Robinhood's IPO, you're going to see another run in relation to Bitcoin purchasing. That's what I'm predicting.
Maybe, because you think about 18 million, and we just did a video on this, 18 million users. Let's assume half of them aren't buying crypto right now, so maybe. And but the key, I think, will be what would be the penetrating factor here. They would have to get the staking in, they have to get the wallet in. Some of those kind of things I think would still play into it.
But accessibility, I think that we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the fact that the more opportunities people have to buy Bitcoin, the more Bitcoin that will be bought.
Yeah, well, the key will be how many new users does Robinhood get on to jump in there to really kind of take that to the next stop. So that's kind of the topic today, is what other markets are going to cause some movement. The cool thing here is the Bitcoin mining stocks are surging as cryptocurrency rallies towards 40K. You see some of the miners right here, shares. We've got Marathon Digital Holdings, Riot, which I'm in, full disclosure, Bitfarms, BitDigital, Hive Blockchain. One that wasn't in here that I'm all in on is Hut8.
Tell us more about that, because you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. So we've had Hut8 on the show, and they've really kind of gone into a whole layer of how they're trying to take mining to market. They're doing this kind of almost a mining as a service kind of scenario where people can come in. If you have a certain level of requirement, you can actually lease miners.
Wow.
Whether it's an ASIC or one of their other machines, but you have to have a certain level, and they'll actually allow you to lease their equipment on their facilities and go out and mine Bitcoin. So big deal.
Unbelievable. So what do we attribute the run of crypto mining companies to?
So clearly, Bitcoin on the move. So Bitcoin's on the move.
The correlation is undeniable.
Yeah. Bitcoin's on the move, and so are these farms. They're moving fast. So I think we're going to see some more run up here. The thing here on today's show to talk about with you guys is to make sure to keep your eyes on, because there's a lot more money to be made outside of just the cryptocurrency. I know you're going to put money in crypto because that, of course, if you're listening to Michael Saylor, all fiat should go into cryptocurrency. You don't even need money
the
for
death
food,
of the dollar.
Eat
Print
some
money.
ramen. But the point is that there are some other opportunities out here in the marketplace, and I think the mining stocks are going to be very interesting to watch, especially as they kind of move on down. I like Riot and I like Hut 8. Those are the two that I've been playing with a little tighter, mainly because I've been diving deeper into because they have real, fundamentals.
Right.
You can look at their performance, you can look at their output, look at their yields. You can also check their full profitability, and that's the beautiful thing about stocks is you can actually run against something on a market that has real fundamentals, which is a big deal.
I also think that the mining stocks that are reducing the barrier to entry in terms of not requiring hardware and the energy, like when you talk about their value prop and the fact that they're comparable to an AWS of mining, so to speak, that is a very appealing value prop to investors, and also a proxy for investors that don't necessarily want to invest in crypto directly.
Right. Which is that's going big time right now. You've got Cathie Wood. You've got, of course, all the institutional guys moving into all sorts of different, derivatives that you can go into, including Michael Saylor's own MicroStrategy, if you want to get into that. If you follow along what's happening there.
Sure.
So you've got a lot of, especially with Grayscale on the trust side. So I think the mining aspect of this, there's a lot of investment opportunities out there, especially that circle around Bitcoin. As we see this bull run, if you don't have the strength and the, I'll call it risk adversity or risk tolerance to be able to go after Bitcoin or some of these altcoins directly, then maybe here's your option to go in this direction.
One of the things that I appreciate about the analysis that we do here is sentiment. And when we talk about sentiment, I think that it's also important to note that the conversation with the B word, in which Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk, and Cathie Wood got together, just talking about the State of the Union as it relates to Bitcoin, crypto. The sentiment was quite bullish in that there are a lot of mining companies that are looking into alternative and renewable energy. So the innovation that we're going to see come from the industry is also making a lot of people pay attention to what's coming down the pike and really considering mining as a viable investment.
Yeah, I think this is going to be, it's just one of those things when you look at pre-market and where the movement is happening in terms of these gainers, lots of different companies really kind of going in this direction for sure. I want to jump to our trading view chart, because this was looking at both Hut 8 and Riot, and both two miners that have had a pretty nice run up here, but also a little bit of a range here in terms of their downside and in terms of their growth. When you look back to TradingView here, you can kind of see back here in July, early July, we saw that little bit of a dip in terms of their growth percentage moving down on Hut 8. Sentiment was scoring at 54.03, and the amplification was coming in at 57.09, which is huge. Average amplification scores in the 50s will run out, give you a lot of potential opportunity there, and 57.09 is a great amp score, which, by the way, right after we scored that on the downside sentiment, which is how we score this, we'll look at sentiment as something is declining so we don't get kind of lost in the fanfare.
Sure.
And then you look at where the amp lands at the bottom of the sentiment range, and now you've got a true score on where, those are the people they're the real players.
Yep.
And if they're still positive, now you've got amplification, and that was the case with Hut 8, who was up significantly at one time, almost 16.9%. And then Riot came in at a sentiment score of 4967. Their amplification was a little bit lower, which is what concerns me a little bit about Riot. If I had to invest in one or the other, I think right now I would pick Hut 8.
Well, from a fundamental analysis standpoint, when we talk about utility and just, what they're bringing to the marketplace as far as enabling and empowering investors to partake in mining without the headaches of acquiring the equipment and so forth. Again, I think it's a very attractive investment opportunity.
Yeah, I think the mining is definitely going to move in that direction. Of course, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. If you think about miners, and of the mining companies that you know of, especially the ones around ESG or environmental sustainable governance applications, meaning, hey, we're using much more renewable energy, which I think is really kind of this whole cycle that we've seen in mining really shift to the forefront. In essence, I think they were already doing it the right way for the most part. This just made them hyper-focus and eliminate all doubt on where this is going.
Paul, I think they say something to the tune of 34 to 35% of Bitcoin that is mined is leveraging alternative and renewable energy. I think that
what other industries could say that, I wonder?
I mean, and that's the thing about it. I think in the public domain, the perception on account of just the bad news around, the amount of energy it takes to mine Bitcoin. There have been some estimates that equate it to the amount of energy it takes to power Switzerland, and countries like that. So it's really important that you do your research, and that 34 to 35% percentage of alternative and renewable energy powering the mining of Bitcoin, I guarantee you that that's going to grow. That's going to grow exponentially. There's a lot of eyeballs paying attention to how Bitcoin is mined. And so I'm happy to see that as an alternative and renewable energy advocate, that we're going to see a lot more organizations adopting those practices. So it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Good news for the environment too.
Well, I think, anytime you've got technology that's moving at the pace in which cryptocurrency and blockchain
lightning
is moving,
speed.
You've got a lot of companies adopting. And remember, we are still at a very, very small adoption percentage in terms of the overall aspect of the marketplace. So lots to really look at here. If you guys are listening in over on the podcast, make sure and give us some stars. That's the best way we can kind of get feedback from you on the audio side of things. And of course,
if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you comment below. We want to hear from you. If you have ideas for stories, let us know. If there are any crypto mining companies that you're excited about, let us know.
Hit us in the comments below. You want to hit me, it's just @PaulBaron on Twitter, easy to reach. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.
And sharing is caring.